All right. Hey, Jess, thanks so much for being here. Today we're here with Jess, and she is really wanting to talk to us about Ayurvedic nutrition, how you can incorporate that into your life really, really easily. So first of all, thank you for being here, Jess. It's
Yeah,
amazing. All the
you're
way from
welcome.
Peru, which I just find
Yeah.
so cool. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about what you want to share?
Yeah. So just talking a little bit about Ayurveda, a lot of people have different ideas about it. And it can be kind of this strict, rigid thing, just like people make yoga or anything in life. But if you kind of think about how you can fit Ayurveda into your own life instead of fitting into this box of whatever you think Ayurveda is. And for people who don't know, it's just the ancient kind of traditional medicine from India. And I like to kind of modernize that and make it practical and accessible for people. And so, wherever you are in life, you can fit this into your own life. So we talk about balance a lot in Ayurveda. And, if you think about an average, life is not kind of, your goal shouldn't be to kind of fit this average line. There's going to be highs and lows, and this is kind of just in the middle. So with, we were talking about a little bit before, I like to run a lot. And in Ayurveda, some people might look at that and say like, oh, that's really damaging for your body, and it's bringing too much movement and air and heat maybe. And instead of, so you're way up here and out of the average. But if you can balance that out. So I love to do this and I feel alive, and I'm not going to stop doing what I love. So whatever you like to do, it makes you feel up here. If you just kind of balance that out, afterwards or before with some things down here. And so then you're not ever getting too high or too low, but you can come up and down kind of like a wave. So
Yeah. That's so beautiful. I love that idea. I love that we can use these beautiful ancient principles and incorporate them to have us, because we're all so different and we're all doing different things. And so just by knowing a few little things that can benefit us to support whatever it is that we need to do and what we love doing, then that's amazing. That's so special. So do you want to start by telling us maybe how you got to Ayurveda and why it became such a great, like why it's something you love sharing and something that you're passionate about sharing?
Yeah, I wanted to be a doctor when I was finished high school and kind of going to college. That was my idea, that I was going to be a doctor, and just kind of researching and shadowing different doctors, and figured out that that's not really what I wanted to do. I really wanted to help people, and I was interested in medicine and biology and the human body, but I didn't want to be a doctor. It just didn't really feel good for me and align with how I wanted to help people. And so I was researching different things from, naturopathic medicine, Chinese medicine, and I heard of Ayurveda and found out that there was a school close to where I lived. So I just jumped in and signed up for that. And it ended up being such a good decision, and really I needed that right then, and it really helped me with what I was going through and during that time. So now I just love sharing that with other people, and since it's helped me so much, that I know it can help so many other people. And yeah, I just love that it's so individualized. So it's not a cookie cutter thing, it's all about you, kind of the same similar ideas as astrologists, you figuring out what works for yourself instead of having someone else tell you you should be eating this or doing this and this. So, it's all about coming back to yourself.
Yeah. And for those that are listening that don't know Strala, Jess and I met through the Strala homepage, which is where we share the Strala philosophy of living with Strala Yoga. So you can have a look more of that about Strala Yoga. You can delve into that. But both of us share these amazing values of ease and being with your own body and learning about your own self through your own self and being your own best guide, I think, is the way. So amazing. So what were some of the things you wanted to share with us about Ayurveda, some of the principles or some of the main ideas for somebody that really doesn't have any idea and is really starting out and that may want to learn more about
it? So food is kind of, digestion is like the basis of a lot of different health issues. And so I think that's a good place to start. It's easy to do. We do it every day, more than once a day. So it's a really good way to start. And what I love about Ayurveda, they say it's almost more important how you're eating than what you're actually eating. So, if you're eating like all this nice vegetable stir fry, but you're eating it in your car really fast on the way to work, those nutrients aren't going to be digested well and kind of absorbed and used well if your body's kind of stressed when you're eating. And so, there's a lot of different things you can do to make the meal really calm and easy feeling instead of stressful. So I know for me, sometimes it is really hard to find time to like just sit down and focus on a meal. I've worked 2 jobs, and sometimes I have like 10 minutes for lunch, but if you just take those 10 minutes and put your phone down, don't have any other distractions, and just start with closing your eyes and taking a few deep breaths, and maybe saying thank you for the person that cooked this, or the farmers that harvested all this food, and then just eating and really chewing and tasting and just making it like a whole body experience instead of kind of just shoveling food into your mouth. So that's probably the biggest tip that I give people, is just to make your eating experience really an experience instead of just kind of doing it while you're multitasking or anything else.
Yeah, sitting down, that's so beautiful, and it's even calming and relaxing when you speak about it. You have such a lovely way. So what under an umbrella we would call that just really being with your meal, I think we can say.
Yeah.
And experiencing it. And then you listed various ways that we can do that. And I think that the one that, I guess if you had to do any, but the one that stood out more was really thankful, like being thankful that meal in front of you. And I think it's something that I'd like to point out, that so many people don't have the opportunity to sit down and have an amazing meal, healthy or not healthy. And so to be really grateful for how the meal got there. And I think it's really, really, really special for the farmers that grew it, because if we really think about it, it's so much energy has gone into making that food and getting it in front of you. And I think that's a really, really special one. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And I know we did have a little chat before about how you love running, and you want to run, and actually it's one of your, let's say, goals, but running an ultra marathon, which is more than 100 miles. That's a really long way to run. I think that's amazing. So for somebody that had a sort of a great sort of, let's say, energetic vision, or a place that I think something they'd love to do, what's a great way that they could use Ayurveda or use the science of Ayurveda to support that dream or that decision?
Yeah, I love how you say support it, because that's really what Ayurveda does. And instead of saying, oh, you should be doing this or you can't do this, it's kind of finding, whatever you like to do and makes you feel alive and makes you feel happy, continue doing that. But, maybe for running, it puts a lot of stress on your body. And so after I go for a run, I can realize that I need something more grounding and heavy. With my yoga practices, it's going to be kind of more calming and soothing practices instead of, more movement, because I don't need more of that. I'm already doing a lot of movement, so it's whatever's kind of make you come back. And I like thinking of things like this in the way of opposites. So it's so simple to pick apart if you think about it like this. Running, it's a lot of movement, it's a lot of air and space, and so you need the opposite of that, which is going to be like heavy, grounding, like earth and water and stuff like that, that's going to bring you back down. And the opposite way, if you're feeling more depressed or more lethargic, don't have energy, that is a lot of earth already that's kind of weighing you down. So you need these opposite things that are going to bring you more uplifted and more happy, and just more space and air, so you can get outside or do some exercise, go on a walk, something that's going to just bring more change into your body.
Wow, yeah, that I love how you share it like that. It's such a beautiful and so simple to understand that
Yeah,
we would just need the opposite to help us stay in balance.
yeah,
And I like the way that you talk about also just really as a principle, not only food, like you say, like what you're putting in, but so then I would do this type of yoga practice, or then I would do
yeah,
this type of meditation, like something that's grounding and stilling, as opposed to depending on what you're doing. And I think that could be so helpful for somebody that's super, super busy in life and really motivated
yeah.
and loves what they do.
Hmm.
That can require a lot of high energy, to know that if I just need to do something that's going to unwind from that, so maybe a gentle
Yeah,
walk, like rather than more running and more up energy sports, it'd be like an
yeah,
unwinding or gentle.
exactly. Yeah. So it's not to say that you shouldn't do these things that cause your body a little bit of stress, or if it makes you happy and you're working and you're ambitious and you have this goal, it's totally good to go for that and to work for that. But if you can just once a day, just take a step back and say, um, yeah, just take a step back instead of continuing on and on and on, and then you're way
Mm.
overstretched. Just coming back and saying, okay, I'm going to do some grounding practices right now in the morning or at night. And then that just balances out all those other actions that you're doing, so you don't get burnt out and
Yeah.
sound like you're doing so much.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Jess. That's awesome. And
Yeah,
I can almost I love this idea of incorporating those things throughout the day. But I'd love to know, and I know that other listeners will love to know, what do you have a practice that, like, as a morning routine that you do, or some principles that you would that people could insert in, some Ayurvedic principles in the morning or in the evening, or a little bit of both? Is there something that you would do and you could offer to other people as something they could do in
yeah. Yeah, Ayurveda is all about their routines, and I think it's really helpful, especially with me kind of going back and forth between different places often. It's nice just to have a routine that keeps you kind of grounded and something familiar, even when there's a lot of change going on. So in the mornings, I like to tongue scrape. It's just this little tool that you kind of get all the gunk out of your mouth, and I like to oil pull too. Just get more of that gunk out of your mouth. And it just feels good for me. And then I like to do some meditation and yoga, and that looks different every day. So sometimes it's a minute, sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's an hour of yoga. It's just different every day, kind of what I feel like I need that day. And then at night, I think it's also nice just to do a little bit of movement, kind of get all the kinks out for the day. So it's, just 5 minutes of moving around however it feels good on the floor. And then maybe just a minute of closing my eyes and kind of processing what happened during the day. Or I like to journal a lot as well. So it's kind of what I like to do in the evening.
yeah, beautiful. And with the journaling, do you have something specific that you journal to? I mean, is it a gratitude journal, or is it just sorting through maybe what you've gone through throughout the day or things like that?
Yeah, it changes every day.
Nice.
um, sometimes I do like to do the gratitude thing. And lately, like my meditation even is just a lot of like counting all the things that I'm grateful for. So lately that has been what it looked like. But sometimes it's writing a lot. Sometimes it's just asking myself one question and kind of answering that, or just writing a sentence or two. It kind of looks different every day.
Beautiful. That's so special. Well, Jess, thank you. That was amazing. Is there anything else? Oh, I have a question for you. What would you tell a younger version of yourself that was embarking on a journey to another country, or perhaps the journey could be maybe there's something that they want to go and achieve? What would you say to them?
I would say to keep a gratitude journal, actually, because
Okay.
when I first came here, it's very different, obviously, and it's a big city. It's not what I was used to, and there's a lot of things that I didn't necessarily like, and I just kept focusing on those things a little bit. So I eventually learned, like, if I keep focusing on what I don't like and what's going wrong, I'm just going to see more and more of that. So if you can, or I would tell myself, try to find what's going really good and what you can do to go out and make yourself feel comfortable here and feel happy here, and focus on that. And then, you just see that more and more and more happen.
Beautiful. And that could be for someone both that has moved somewhere, but also someone that's just feeling maybe energetically stuck about where they are, or
it works for everything.
It does. Gratitude does. So,
yeah.
I agree. Well, thank you so much, Jess. So people can reach you. I know you've got a website called healthywithjess.com.
Mm-hmm.
So they can reach you there, and on Instagram. What's your Instagram?
Yeah, just Healthy with Jess as well.
Healthy with Jess. Beautiful. Where you're sharing lots of amazing things and your journey. And wow, we look forward to seeing your ultra marathon run photos.
Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Jess.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
See you soon.